Breaking news out of Washington, and you're going to want to hear this. Former President Donald Trump just made a statement that's shaking every corner of the retirement community. And it's all about Social Security. That's right. In a surprise announcement this morning, Trump hinted at what he's calling a total overhaul of the Social Security system if he's back in office. And get this, he claims it will mean the biggest benefit raise in US history. You heard that correctly. A massive raise for millions of retirees, seniors, and disability recipients. But before you start celebrating, there's something else buried in this plan that could completely change how your benefits are calculated and when you actually receive them. Sources close to Trump's campaign say the new proposal could be unveiled in detail within weeks. But what's already leaked has insiders buzzing. They're calling it the most dramatic change to Social Security since the Reagan era. Trump's message was bold. We're going to restore fairness to the people who built this country, our seniors. You've earned it, and you'll finally get what you deserve. That's the promise. But behind that promise, there's a warning. Because according to early reports, Trump's plan doesn't just raise benefits, it rewrites the rules. It could change how the government measures inflation when cost of living adjustments are applied, and even how your benefit amount is taxed. And here's the kicker. Some of those changes could take effect as early as next year. Think about that. If you're receiving Social Security or you're about to file, this could hit your pocketbook in a matter of months. Now, before we dive deeper, let's pause and ask the question everyone's thinking. Why now? Why is Trump talking about Social Security again? And why are some in Congress suddenly lining up behind this idea? According to insiders, this push came after new government data showed the Social Security Trust Fund could run short by 2033, 1 year sooner than previously expected. That means, if nothing changes, retirees could face a 20% benefit cut within a decade. Trump's camp says this plan would fix that problem by boosting benefits while tightening eligibility for high-income retirees and adjusting how cost of living increases are calculated. It's a bold claim. But here's where things get interesting. Analysts are already warning that this might not be a simple fix. In fact, it could divide Washington like never before. Some call it a game changer, others call it political theater. And you, the American taxpayer, the retiree, the worker paying into the system, you're caught right in the middle. So what's really happening behind the scenes? How big could these raises actually be? And what hidden rule changes could impact your next payment? Stay with me, because what happens next will surprise you. Now let's break down exactly what's changing, who stands to win, and who could lose the most. All right. Let's get into what's really going on here, because behind the headlines and the bold promises, there's a lot more happening than most people realize. According to leaked policy drafts and statements from Trump's campaign advisors, this Social Security overhaul isn't just about giving seniors a raise. It's about restructuring how benefits are calculated from the ground up. Here's what that means. Right now, Social Security's annual cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is based on something called the Consumer Price Index for Urban Wage Earners and Clerical Workers, or CPIW. That's a fancy government formula that tracks inflation, but mostly for working-age households. Trump says that's unfair to seniors, and honestly, a lot of experts agree. The CPIW doesn't fully reflect what older Americans actually spend money on, things like prescription drugs, healthcare premiums, and utilities. So Trump wants to switch the formula to something new, the CPIE, or Consumer Price Index for the elderly. It's been discussed in Congress before, but it's never been fully adopted. Under the CPIE, Social Security benefits would rise faster because it better captures the real inflation seniors face. To put that into perspective, if this change had been in place over the last 10 years, the average retiree could be getting about $145 more per month right now. And here's where it gets wild. Trump's team says they'd implement this adjustment immediately in the first year of his term, meaning that if this plan passes, the next COLA, set to be announced by the Social Security Administration in October, could more than double the current estimate. Let's talk numbers. Right now, analysts at the Senior Citizens League project the 2025 COLA will be around 2.8% based on current inflation trends. Under Trump's proposal, that could jump to 5.6% or even 6%, depending on how they adjust the formula. If you're receiving an average Social Security check of $1,115 a month, that means your benefit could increase by as much as $110 a month, or about $1,320 more per year. That's not pocket change, that's groceries, gas, or even part of your Medicare premiums covered. But before you get too excited, there's a catch. Trump's plan, according to policy insiders, would also introduce what's called income-tiered indexing. Basically, higher income retirees, those earning above $100,000 a year from all sources, would see smaller COLA increases. The idea is to focus the biggest raises on middle and lower income seniors. Sounds fair, right? Maybe, but critics say that could create an entirely new layer of complexity and even open the door to means testing benefits in the future. Economists are split down the middle. Former SSA economist Dr. Karen McAdams says, "This is a long overdue correction. Seniors have been undercounted by inflation metrics for decades." But others, like fiscal analyst Mark Daniels from the Brookings Institution, warn that Trump's plan may boost short-term payouts, but it accelerates insolvency unless new funding is introduced. That's the elephant in the room. Where's the money coming from? Social Security is funded primarily by payroll taxes, 6.2% from workers and another 6.2% from employers. That money goes straight into the trust fund, which has been shrinking as more Americans retire and fewer are working to replace them. So, unless the government raises the payroll tax cap, increases retirement age, or cuts spending elsewhere, these bigger checks could push the system closer to insolvency by the early 2030s. Trump, of course, says that won't happen. He insists his plan will be funded through what he calls smart government efficiency, cutting foreign aid and redirecting surplus revenues from tariffs and energy projects. But that's a big if. Still, the messaging is clear. Trump wants to make Social Security a winning issue. He's positioning himself as the protector of seniors, promising to save and supercharge the system while calling out Democrats for fear-mongering. In a rally speech just last night, he said, "Joe Biden talks about saving Social Security. I'm the only one who's actually going to do it." And to be fair, there's bipartisan acknowledgement that something needs to change. Even current SSA projections show that if Congress does nothing, benefits could be automatically cut by 23% around 2033. So yes, Trump's plan could shake up the system, but it also opens the door to a fierce political battle over what Social Security should be in the 21st century, a guaranteed benefit or a needs-based safety net. And this is where it gets personal, because these changes don't just affect Washington numbers, they affect you, your monthly check, your retirement timeline, your healthcare costs. So how does this all translate into real dollars in your pocket? And what can you do right now to protect yourself before any of this takes effect? That's coming up next. Because before you go checking your bank account and expecting that extra $100, there are a few crucial things you need to do, starting today. Now let's talk about what this really means for you. Because all the policy talk and political noise don't matter unless you know how it hits your wallet, your benefits, and your future. If Trump's plan goes through, and remember, parts of it could be introduced even before the election through proposed legislation, the changes will start showing up where it matters most, in your monthly Social Security check. Here's the breakdown. Under Trump's proposal, the new CPIE adjustment could kick in by early 2026. That means your January 2026 benefit, the first payment of the year, could reflect the larger cost of living increase. For the average retiree receiving about $1,215 a month, the new formula could push that to roughly $2,030. That's an increase of about 115s every month. If you're on disability or receiving survivor benefits, the impact would be similar. Your payments would rise faster than they would under the current system. But remember what I said earlier, there's a catch. This plan would also adjust how Social Security interacts with taxable income. Currently, if you earn more than $25,000 as an individual or $32,000 as a couple, a portion of your benefits becomes taxable. Trump's team is considering raising those thresholds to help middle-income seniors keep more of their checks. So you could see a double benefit, higher payments and less tax on them. Now here's something a lot of people miss. Bigger checks also mean potentially higher Medicare Part B premiums, since those are tied to income brackets. Analysts estimate that for some retirees, the monthly premium could rise by $8 to $12. It's not huge, but it eats into part of that COLA gain. That's why it's critical to check your SSA and Medicare statements side by side. Go to ssa.gov My Account. Make sure your direct deposit information is up to date. You'd be surprised how many people miss their adjusted payments simply because of outdated banking info. Next, mark your calendar for October 10th. That's when the Social Security Administration traditionally announces the official COLA for the following year. That date will tell you if Trump's proposed changes are already influencing policy or if it's still just political talk. Now, if you're nearing retirement age, this part's crucial. If you plan to file for Social Security within the next 12 months, timing could be everything. If Trump's plan raises the benefit formula, people who delay claiming until after it's implemented could lock in a higher base benefit for life. Let's put that into numbers. Say you're 65 and your estimated benefit today is $2,000 per month. If the formula changes next year and you wait, your new benefit could jump to $2,120 or even $2,150. Over a 20-year retirement, that's an extra $36,000 to $40,000 in lifetime income. That's the kind of money that makes a real difference. Now, what about the critics who say this plan could bankrupt Social Security faster? Here's the truth. Yes, if benefits rise faster than revenue, it could speed up insolvency. But Trump's team insists they'll offset it by increasing the taxable wage cap, currently at $168,600. They're reportedly considering lifting it to $250,000, meaning high earners would contribute more into the system. That alone could add $1.3 trillion to the trust fund over the next decade, according to independent budget models. In plain English, if that part passes, the system could stay solvent longer and pay higher benefits. So, what should you do right now? Here are your 4 action steps. Step 1. Go to ssa.gov My Account and make sure your benefit estimate is accurate. If you've changed jobs, had gaps in work, or earned more recently, your projected benefit could be higher than what's listed. Step 2. Check your Medicare premium bracket. If you're near an income threshold, talk to a tax advisor about reducing taxable income before the end of the year to avoid a premium hike. Step 3. Mark those key dates, October 10th for the COLA announcement and early January 2026 for when new rates could take effect. Step 4. Stay informed. Follow official updates, not just viral headlines. And if you have questions, call the Social Security hotline at 1-800-772-2013. You can also reach out to your local SSA office. Most are open weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Listen carefully. No one's benefits are disappearing overnight. Your payments will continue, and no one is taking away your earned retirement. But what's coming could redefine how the program works for decades to come. And whether you support Trump or not, This proposal forces a national conversation that's long overdue about how we protect retirees, how we define fairness, and how we keep Social Security strong for the next generation. Because this isn't just about politics, it's about you. It's about your check, your security, and your future. So before the next headline hits, take control. Get informed, get prepared, and stay ahead. If you found this update helpful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss the next big announcement that could change your benefits again. Stay alert, stay prepared, and as always, stay informed. Your future depends on it.